Welcome in to the Seth Floyd Show. I'm your host, Seth Floyd Hansen, and I feel gross about to do the video that I've prepared. I just did my preview for the 49ers Packers game coming up this week in Lambeau Field, okay, on Fox. Tom Brady, golly, I don't want him calling any more games. We lose, it feels like every time. I guess we beat Tampa, but man. And I decided I was going to do a video about what would the path be for the 49ers to make the playoffs, okay? I sat down today, I was looking at records, I was looking at schedules, I was looking at just like what it would take, okay? What does it look like? And it's not looking good. I want to put this disclaimer out. My official, I do not believe this will happen. I'm jumping ship. I jumped ship as soon as they lost. Okay, I was ready to jump ship after they lost to Tampa Bay. Or excuse me, they beat Tampa Bay. But after how close that game was, when they didn't have Mike Evans, they didn't have Chris Godwin, we were coming off a bye week and we looked that bad. Okay, I was ready to jump ship, but they won, so I was like, okay, fine. Get back home. It was a road game. Maybe you can get it right against Seattle. And then that happened last week, and I'm off. I'm off the ship. I'm mentally kind of getting ready for the draft for this team, trying to see trying to find the positive silver lining. If we finish third place or fourth place, oh my gosh, can't even believe I'm saying that out loud. In the division, at least next year you get to play a third place schedule, fourth place schedule. That's where my head is at. However, the Cardinals are 5-4, 6-4. Okay, the rest of the division's 5-5. You're not mathematically eliminated. So let's talk about what it would look like, what they would need in order to make a playoff run as they sit at 5-5. I hope I'm wrong. I'm just going to read some of the stuff I wrote because I don't want to forget. I hope I'm wrong, but mentally written this team off. Just talked about it. They haven't played one game. I talked about this in my other video. They haven't played one game that gives me any kind of confidence. Maybe the Jets game, week 1, maybe, but it's week 1, and that Jets team has turned out to be historically terrible. So what is that? Since week 1, I have not had any moment of this team looks really good. So I don't think they're getting in. That's my official prediction. They're going to miss the playoffs this year. They're going to finish 9-8 and miss the playoffs. Even 8-9 is on the table. But if they do get in, this is what it's going to look like, or what's going to happen. In my humble opinion, San Francisco, you can lose one more game. One game, that's it. That is it. Before last week, I had said 2, but you weren't supposed to lose to Seattle. That really kills you. If you look at the wild card, let's not talk about the division yet. Let's look at the wild card teams. Okay, right now you've got Minnesota, 8-2. You've got Green Bay, 7-3, and then you've got the Commanders, who are 6-4, or are they 7-3? I can't remember. I wrote it down. Now that Josh, I feel dumb. They're 7-4 right now. I guess they haven't had their bye week. They're 7-4. Okay, Minnesota. They're probably going to finish 12-5 and be a wild card. You're not catching Minnesota. You're not catching Minnesota. And even if they lose 4 games and get to 11-6, they hold the tiebreaker over you because you lost to them. And they have an easy schedule. They were the last place team in their division last year. No, they weren't. The Bears were, right? Anyway, they're playing a 3rd or 4th place schedule. Can't remember. Regardless, it's an easy schedule the rest of the way. So they're going to be the 5 seed for sure. Green Bay at 7-3. Now, honestly, you could potentially catch Green Bay, but what has to happen is Green Bay is going to have to lose to Minnesota again. They have to lose to Detroit again, and they have to lose to you. If those 3 things happen, okay, and let's say you only lost one more game the rest of the way, then you'd both be 11-6, and you would hold the tiebreak over them. Now, if you go 11-6, you're going to win the division. I don't think the Cardinals are going 11-6. I don't. I think if you look at their schedule, they have to play the 49ers, the Rams, the Vikings, and Seattle twice still. I think they're going to lose 3 games over the course of the season. I could be wrong. I think they lose 3 games and finish 10-7. But you could potentially, let's say they go 11-6 and you finish 11-6 also. I think that gives them a tiebreaker. I don't know. I guess if you'd have to beat them in week 18, maybe that gives you the bump and you win the division. Either way, you are 11-6, Cardinals are 11-6, but if Green Bay is 11-6, but you have beaten them and you're 11-6, you should get the tiebreaker over them, I think. So that's one way, okay? The Commanders, they're 7-4 right now, okay? They would be that 7 seed, okay? Their schedule is so easy going forward. Now, I think the Commanders are one of the more fraudulent teams. They have one good win on their schedule, basically, and that's the Cardinals in week 2 or 3, whatever, when the Cardinals weren't rolling like they are now. The 2 tough games they have left are the Eagles and the Falcons. Let's assume they lose both those games. That would put them at 11-6. Okay. Now, I don't think they're that great. So the chances of them dropping a dumb game like to the Saints, I think they still have to play. I can't remember. They probably play the Giants one more time. No, they've beaten the Giants twice, I think. Regardless, they could lose another one and get to 10-7, maybe. I don't know if you have the tiebreaker over them. You don't play them, so it's tough to see. The only way to guarantee, I guess is what I'm saying, that you get into the playoffs is you have to be 11-6. Now, why is that such a tough thing? Well, I don't know. Maybe because you still have Green Bay on the schedule. You have Buffalo on the schedule. You have the Lions on the schedule. News, 49ers fans, I know you know this. You are losing that Lions game. You are going to lose that Lions game on Monday Night Football unless Detroit has it wrapped up and they're the 1 seed. We play them week 17. So there's a chance they have the 1 seed wrapped up week 17. And they won't sit guys, but maybe they don't play as hard. Maybe they do sit guys. I don't know. It's a long time to sit guys. 3 weeks of them not playing football. But maybe they just don't play as hard. Maybe, I don't know. And you're desperate. So maybe that kind of scenario. But there's a 90% chance you're not winning that game. And definitely not with this version of this team. So if you lose the Lions, let's assume you lose the Lions, you got to beat Green Bay. You got to beat Buffalo in Buffalo as they come off a bye. And that doesn't even mention you should beat Chicago, okay? But are you going to beat the Rams Thursday night at home? I hope, but not a guarantee, obviously. Are you going to beat the Dolphins, who kind of are surging a little bit? I don't know. You play them on the road. That's not going to be easy. And then you play the Cardinals week 18. You can only lose one more of those. And I'm giving that loss to the Lions to get to 11-6. The wild card feels somewhat impossible. I just think you're going to lose a bunch of these tiebreakers at 10-7. If you are going to go to 10-7, the 2 games you want to lose, okay, are Buffalo and Miami, because they're AFC teams. And what one of the tiebreakers is when you're in a wild card scenario, if you have the same record as a team outside your division, is what is your conference record? That's one of the tiebreakers. They don't care about your non-conference record. So in theory, if you're going to lose, okay, you losing to Buffalo is not the end of the world. If that's your one loss, I would rather lose to Buffalo than the Lions, but I just don't think you're going to beat the Lions. So I'm saying you have to beat Buffalo. But in theory, if you're going to lose 1 or 2, you want to lose 1 to the Bills or 1 to the Dolphins. Okay. If you get to 10-7, if you lose more than 1, as I expect you will, and you get to 10-7, there's no guarantee you're getting in. 11-6, you're getting in. Guaranteed, I promise you're getting in at 11-6. You're not going to have a 11-6 team out of the playoffs. Okay, 10-7. There's going to be a 10-7 team this year that's out, and it very well could be you. So that's what I got. I think 10-7. If you go 10-7, and you lost to the Bills and you lost to the Dolphins, you could win the tiebreaker over the Cardinals. Assuming that they go to 10-7, assuming they lose 3 more, and you're one of the teams that gave them a loss, that's possible. The Seattle, the rest of the way, their schedule is pretty tough. They got to play the Cardinals twice, so you can assume they're probably going to split one of those. They very well could lose both of those. I think they still have to play Minnesota, and I think they played Detroit. Have they already played Detroit? No, they already played Detroit and they lost, I think. Anyway, I was looking at their schedule earlier and being man, Seattle looks like they have the toughest, outside of the 49ers, they have the toughest schedule remaining. And the same with the Rams. I don't know what to make of the Rams. It's all going to come down to the wire, but they still have to play us again. They have to play 49ers again. They got to play the Cardinals again. They still play Seattle again. So they all have to play each other. You've not done yourselves any favors, 49ers. So I don't know if you got much out of this. I just kind of laid out these scenarios. 11-6, you're for sure in. Feels like there's a 5% chance you go 11-6. Okay, that means losing one more the rest of the way. I don't see it happening. It feels like the ceiling for the Niners is 10-7, and you just got to hope and pray that you get some of the tiebreakers, whether it's in your division or as a wild card. You can't lose any more division games. If you lose another division game, it's gonzo. I guess if your one loss was a division game and you finished 11-6, fine. But those are the easier games. I named 3 harder games than your division games. Okay, Green Bay, Buffalo, and the Lions. If you're going to lose a division game also, you're donezo. So we can hope, we can pray, 49ers fans, or you can be like me, where like you're going to watch and you're going to cheer your team on, but in your head, you're going to be very guarded and reserved and be like, I'm already in draft season. I'm already just kind of thinking about 2025 because that feels like where this is headed. But those are the scenarios. You got to beat Green Bay. You probably got to beat Buffalo. Or if you lose to Buffalo, find something at the end of the world, but you have to beat Detroit, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So that's what I got for you. I'm probably less optimistic than most 49er fans. I think I've seen 49er fans try to pump themselves up and talk themselves into, hey, this can happen. We're not dead in the water yet. And I'm waving the white flag. I think we're dead in the water. So sucks. But that's what I got for you. That's what I got for you guys. Thank you for watching the video. Please hit like on the video, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. What's our final record? Do we make the playoffs? Do we miss? Where do we draft? Who do you want to see in the draft? Those kind of things. But it starts this weekend. Go Niners, I guess. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Can they get it done in Lambeau? We'll find out. I'm out.
Got some bad news for you.